Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Fran Lavoie, and I just had to get this story out about this interview with Danae Jackson and Lateris Whitfield on Dear Future Wifey podcast. There's a lot going on, but I'm here to talk about it. You're going to hear a lot of background, but I wanted to be consistent with the content, and I just have to talk about this, so let's talk about it.
We're about to voice it with Fran Lavoie. Tune in.
Hey, y'all. So I needed to address this interview with Danae Jackson on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, hosted by Lateris Whitfield. All right, so I feel like the interview was prematurely done. One thing that Lateris said that I don't 100% agree with is, I know that you're a healed woman. You know, you can always tell when you see a healed woman because she can laugh about it, I believe he said, and she can talk about it or something without crying or something. It's like, yes and no, because while I think that Danae is in a much better place than what she was back in 2021 when she had no choice but to address it with her current husband, who, you know, it's left to determine whether or not their divorce proceedings are moving forward progressively. And that gentleman is the infamous Derek Jackson, who is a relationship coach and, you know, self-proclaimed guru. And I guess not self-proclaimed at this point because a lot of people consume his content even after being exposed. It's giving off, you know, I'm trying to make money off of my pain. And why I say that is because throughout the whole interview, and it just reminds me of something that was said on the Bald and the Beautiful podcast. That's the podcast with Kevin and Melissa Fredericks and Marcus and Angel Tanksley. They're popular, you know, it's Kev on Stage and that chick Angel and their spouses. And when during the Escape and SWV show, when, you know, the Scott sisters were fighting over the $30,000, Angel Tanksley said it's giving off I'm trying to come up vibes, in the sense that this woman, Danae, was pretty much just as they were probably trying to use that $30,000 plot line to come up, you know, because it was a limited series and they trying to stay relevant. Sorry about that. People are trying to, you know, get their music pushed and all that. I feel like Danae is trying to push her narrative to, once again, pander to, you know, women in, you know, particularly women who are broken, women who are looking for answers, and trying to use this as a way and use God as a way to come up in this situation, as well as her pain. Why I say that is because after the interview, I'm seeing that, you know, what came out was that she offers coaching. She offers coaching opportunities. And the reason why this is such an issue for me, sorry, I had to go get my other phone. The reason why this is such an issue for me is because if it's your pain, I'm sure someday you can probably help women and probably, you know, maybe a small fee. I could understand if it was a small fee. But Danae, probably her and her husband, they're offering one-on-one coaching, and it's in sections, and you're going to get a free copy of her book, an infidelity recovery boot camp one-on-one coaching. Everything altogether, profit from your pain, it's $5,000. It's like, I think the price tag literally says $4,997. And this is a complete insult to women who don't know any better. And it's like, why are y'all playing in people's face? And I feel sorry for the women who, after listening to the interview, who have decided that they're going to support this. I feel sorry for them because it truly does show that when you are famous and when you have a sob story, people will come. You know, people will support it. You know, Tony Gaskins came out the other day and, you know, discussed this interview. And he said, you have to be careful because you with that girl, Danae, he pretty much said it. He said it like this. He said, people will literally pay to watch you put yourself on fire. And he's not wrong. You know, we like drama. LaTerrace Whitfield understands that. Danae and Derek understand that. You know, this is all, in my opinion, based off of what I just saw, a way to come up. I would be interested to see how she can explain this $5,000 like price tag. Like what all comes in this coaching. Because that price tag is absolutely ridiculous. Particularly for somebody who I don't believe is healed. So to get into this interview, I just have to get that out the way. To get into this interview, I don't think that LaTerrace Whitfield did a horrible job. I think that he provided a platform for her to speak. I just think that she could have explored other options, or she could have come at a later time when she wasn't so broken. But she gave us great content because she was very candid about her experience. So to get into what she went through, Danae was born in, I believe, Denver, and she was born into a single parent home, or is a result of a single, like a separated or broken marriage. And her parents were separated, and I'm sorry. And, you know, she grew up with that reality in her life, which can also tie into why she probably responded the way that she responded in a lot of her videos. You know, which was very tumultuous. She then fast forwards to, you know, just going through her childhood, and, you know, she was quiet, and, you know, she was always the smart girl. And then she got to college, and, you know, she went to, like, I guess she was in a class with Derek, and she saw him, and she was, like, interested. Obviously, he was cute, and he was interested in her. And they started dating, and, well, she started to become his tutor. Then they started dating, and the relationship, while it was like an official relationship, while it was like it seemed like at the end she won because she got married to him, it was going to lead to, prior to their marriage, it was going to lead to maybe approximately 7 to 8, maybe 9 years of an on and off, very toxic, tumultuous relationship. Toxic in the sense that she allowed Derek to cheat. She allowed situations to happen on her without any true consequences or repercussions. And repercussions, you know, vengeance is ours, and that vengeance is not ours, I'm sorry, thus saith the Lord. And I think that's another thing that she needs to learn. And I'll get into that in a second. But basically, it was two parts of her explaining what seemed chronologically her brokenness and her hurt. You know, this man single-handedly disrespected her, you know, and she admitted that she was a willing participant. Now, I'm not judging the fact that she was a willing participant, and I'm not coming down on women who have been in this situation more than I'm going to say we need to do better. I think that coupled with her, and she did mention, and I'm sorry, this is a very important part, before she met him, maybe 3 weeks prior, she was SA'd. Now, if you don't know what SA means, you know, you can look it up. But she was SA'd, and, you know, her body was pretty much taken advantage of. And 3 weeks later, she meets this man who, because she, you know, was insecure, admittedly, and she did not have a lot of, you know, male attention. You know, this is a guy, and then just also looking for acceptance, not really breaking down what happened in her situation. She meets this guy, and now she's in this relationship. And what I learned in that situation is that men definitely can smell the insecurity on you. Men, and just people in general, because I'm not going to make it just about men. A person who's looking to manipulate can sense and seek out a person who is going to accept that. You know, if you're a person who is always willing to help, if you're a person who is always willing to be there, it looks like you're going to just take anything. You know, people who are manipulative, and, you know, even if you're not looking to directly say, I'm going to manipulate this person, I'm going to take advantage of this person. If, you know, that inch slowly becomes a mile, baby. And it's sad because, you know, we've all been manipulated, or we've all been manipulators, even to the smallest degree. You know, children often manipulate their parents, you know, so that's not it. But it comes from a broken place when we constantly accept it. I mean, I know I've definitely accepted, you know, disrespect, and I know that I have been in a toxic relationship, you know, before, and I definitely have had my fair share of mistakes that I've made also. I can say that mine definitely weren't intentional, and there's several people that can say, and Derek can probably also say, he didn't intend to, you know, hurt Danae. No, come on. But the truth is that because of the nature of his actions, it's hard to believe that he didn't intend to. He probably just thought that she was down with the cause because she accepted it. Justifiable deniability, shout out to Trill AC, Cruise Season. He uses that term a lot. She never required him to stop doing what she was doing. She never required it. So because she never required it, now we're in a place where she is in an on and off relationship where he's dating other women, you know, and even to the point where she said that she knew what time her appointments with him were, and she would pass women in the hallway. That straight up just made me close my eyes and just shake my head deeply for her. I felt sorry for her in that point. And then a part of me didn't. Because by the time she put herself in that situation, she was a willing participant, which came out of her mouth verbatim, which hurt me for her, because nobody deserves to be a willing participant. There's nothing willing about being, you know, willing, that's not true. Let me retract my statement. If you're in a willingly, like a situation where you're willingly taking the disrespect, you're willingly saying, you know what, I'm just going to be on the side. It's okay. You know, as long as I got a piece of him, That right there, we've already lost. We've already lost, and it's a long uphill battle from there if you allow it to be. I guess without making this video long, I just think that the reason why I feel like I don't feel so bad, especially after seeing that coaching, I think that when you start to exploit your pain, you don't take your pain serious, so why should I? You don't take your healing seriously, and you don't take people seriously. Because none of this stuff that she went through, in my opinion, needs a $5,000 coaching. There's nothing in what she's gone through that needs me. If I knew that I needed a life coach, if I knew that I needed a therapist, there's nothing in me that says, you know what? I'm just going to go on and pay this $5,000. No, thank God for technology. Thank God for YouTube. And thank God for health insurance. Because even in health insurance, it's not going to be that expensive. If she's saying that it's $5,000 for the whole entire year, if she's saying that it's $5,000 like lifetime and people are willing to pay for that, I would need to see details. I would need to know that, okay, like she is bringing on therapists, she's bringing on other mental health professionals, she's bringing on pastoral care, she's bringing on all these things to make me say, you know what, this is worth it. Let me pay this money. Even then, it's still a ripoff to me, and it's a ripoff to women who she knows will buy it because she's allowed people in to believe in her story. And that level of brainwashing, to me, that level of at least attempting to brainwash, to me, it's just a direct insult. It's an insult to me that people would do this and think that they can get away with it. But the truth is that they already have. They already have gotten away with it. They already have allowed themselves into people's lives with that interview that they did 2 years ago. They've already put people invested in their story to say, you know what? Let me keep on going back to hear what they have to say. Let me keep on going back. So, Derek and Danae they filed for divorce at the end of 2022. And he posted this heartfelt, post about, how, they fell in love as young adults, and, just how they went from dating to, marriage to now being co-parents, and, please respect their privacy. And, she has done a lot since then. And prior to that, no one can forget that infamous interview where, she had the quote unquote bonnet, aka helmet of salvation. And that, just made her look bad, Then she was just very defensive and hyper religious. And, I'm not going to even go into that. You can just go on her Instagram page. You can see it. You can type in her name on any platform, and you can just kind of see her videos. And she's very unapologetic for it, which I don't like, because I feel like she uses, the scriptures in vain and out of context. What she does is that when people criticize her or make comments that she doesn't agree with, she will come for you with a scripture. She will say a lot of Christianese stuff. And I mean, take it from me, I'm a believer. I'm a follower of Christ. And, while I don't, profess perfection, I do understand that, you cannot, just use scripture how you want to just to attack people. And in the interview, that's one of the main things that I disagreed with. I disagreed with the fact that And I disagree with a lot of things, but I did not like the fact that she was trying to play in our face and say, well, doesn't the Bible say this? I'm using the word. And that doggone Latarius Whitfield was just laughing and chuckling. And that part, I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I didn't appreciate his constant chuckling and laughing. You know, I understand he was probably like, come on, girl, you know what you was doing wasn't right. And he was laughing because, you know, she was, you know, according to him, saying little side stuff or being like a little petty and some of the things that she was saying. But I think that, you know, I probably would have chuckled myself. I just think that, you know, a lot of people are coming for Latarius because, you know, his whole podcast and his whole story, you know, I kind of like looked at some clips of him. I'd never really like gotten into his podcast prior to that, but he cheated on his wife. And, you know, I think he, you know, asked for forgiveness and he moved forward, and now he has this podcast. And I just feel like, you know, she just wasn't ready to do this interview with him. Maybe this interview with him could have happened later on after some healing and after some other developments that she was looking to promote later on. But the initial interview, I feel like, should have been done with somebody more investigative. I don't think he did a horrible job. I feel like he, like I said, he got her to speak out a lot that we didn't know, and that's fine. I just think that, I just feel like somebody else could have been better. I just feel like, in a way, he's kind of pandering too. In a way, you know, with his podcast and with the premise of it and him writing a letter and all that stuff. All of that stuff is fine. You can write a letter, you can do all that stuff. I just feel like that is a personal thing. I mean, I'm not going to say that God did not tell him to share his letters and all that stuff and do all this stuff. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to exploit yourself so that nobody else will, right? So, I mean, in that case, I don't know what else to say about him more than I just hope that he's not on the same kind of agenda that I feel that the Jacksons are. And I'm calling them the Jacksons still because while he filed for divorce and while he had to address his divorce, even though I think they filed in October and they had to address it later on because he was caught, where it looked like in Miami with some other girl. You know, I don't know if that's his lady. I don't know if that's another jump off. I don't know. I don't want to disrespect the young lady. But at the end of the day, you know, once I saw that coaching for $5,000, I already knew what time it was. You know, from hearing, you know, her say that she felt like she won, you know, even though she was a willing participant in this rotation that he was on. And you know, even while she was pregnant, she was still on that rotation. You know, all of that stuff was hurtful to hear. It was. You know, it made me feel like as women, once again, we need to do better as people, because there's men, whether I don't think, you know, men, they cannot get pregnant. Even though some people believe that, I do not believe that a man can biologically get pregnant. I just feel like men also go through, you know, hurt and heartbreak through women or, you know, the partners that they have. I just think in general, as people, we need to do better and we need to be able to withhold love. And when I was talking to one of my girlfriends about this, you know, the scriptures tell you in the Old Testament, do not awaken love before it's time. Do not awaken love before it's time. And I think that woman needed to process. You know, I think she thought she was processing when she knew information. She watched sex tapes that he did over and over. She tried to emulate these women, you know, just to get him to like her. You know, even after getting caught, she had requests. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to stop. I need to have access to your phone. we need to go see a counselor. We need to do this. We need to do that. And there's even pictures of him looking like he's surrendering to God and all that, which people are clowning him about. But it's just the fact that none of that stuff will make a person stay with you if they don't want to stay with you. And I think that that is just an important takeaway that we need to just have. A man is not going to stay with you if he does not want to. He'll play in your face, but that's about it. After watching some of these dating shows, a woman is not going to stay with you if she don't want to. I think that people stick around if they're getting some sort of benefit from it, but it doesn't mean that the benefit is love. It is very tricky, but I think that we really need to have standards that are reasonable and measurable for our lives. Just human decency and dignity needs to be followed. And I think that when we're not receiving that, we cannot love a person so much that we're willing to accept certain behaviors without speaking up and standing to our boundaries. I have to learn it. I have to practice it no matter how hard it is, no matter how lonely it may get, no matter how misunderstood I may be. I have to be willing to listen to, even when I make mistakes, even when people have different perspectives. But you have to understand which perspectives people are trying to throw at you, and you have to get to see if they're healthy or not. Because sometimes people will throw a perspective at you and it's like, that don't make no sense. Nah, what you saying there? And so I guess, once I saw that, like I said, I was done. And I was like, you know what? You're misquoting scripture. You're playing in our face on your Instagram. You're cursing us because you feel a type of way. And after you put up that video of cursing them people, you trying to justify it. Then this man is caught with another woman, files for divorce. You counterfile, because he puts irreconcilable differences, and you put infidelity, which I appreciate you did that. But regardless of your hurt, do not play in people's face. That's all I ask. Don't play in people's face. Don't disrespect and make us feel like you are trying to do something that you're not trying to do. Don't play in my face. Don't do it. And anybody that has purchased that coaching, if you don't believe that they're doing this together, then I don't know what to say. I believe that they're doing this together, and I believe that because they're still married, this is money that's going to come into their storehouse. Until she gets a divorce, and until it appears that they're just detached and they're simply co-parenting, and you can show us proof that, he's not benefiting from this, I'm not. Until you drop your prices, or until you don't charge at all and you do other things to make money, then I can't accept the fact that you're not playing in people's face, or at least other people who can't see through this. I wish them both well. I hope that they figure it out for the sake of their children. And if they have figured it out, I hope that it's very healthy, and I hope that it is not them trying to, and I've been saying this, disrespect and pander. With LaTerrace Whitfield and the podcast, will I listen again? Mind you, this was my first time really tuning in for the sake of this interview. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I just hope that you're not pandering either, trying to make people feel bad. And I hope that you've really changed, and you're not doing the same things you were doing before and just putting the stamp of God on it. So let me know what y'all think. What do you think about Danea's interview? What do you think about her $5,000 coaching? What do you think about what she's done on her Instagram? What do you think about Derek Jackson, the Dear Future Wifey podcast? What do you think about this whole entire thing? Any thoughts are welcomed. You know, this has been Voice It with Fran Lavoie. I'm your host, Fran Lavoie, and please follow me everywhere that you stream podcasts. Download it, share it. Even if you agree or disagree, you can also find a video version of this broadcast on YouTube at Voice It ! With Fran Lavoie. And you can leave your comments there also. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.